classes and the venerable class were too powerful and had such a stable position, no one from any of the aristocratic families in River County would dare to challenge them. It will be exciting when the Joe family go against the Summer family. Right? It should be the grand finale, right? I bet that the Joe family will succeed in the challenge and proceed to become a prominent class. Jean Lianshan could not sit still anymore. It seemed that his son did not register to challenge the prominent class. Up next was the wealthy class. There were only 3 wealthy classes in the entire River County. And these were all powerful families. With the limited number of people in the Jean family, what strength did they have to compete with these vicious wealthy class families? Father, sister, soon it will be our turn. Jean Wuchuan was still smiling. That Zhenwu official cleared his throat and said excitedly, everyone, 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 listen carefully, the next announcement is a serious matter. In this session's family class evaluation, we will be witnesses to a fight for a wealthy class seat. Everyone is surely looking forward to this major event, right? Do you want to know who is the challenger, and the one being challenged? Yes. Instantly, a booming response was heard from the river square when everyone suddenly heard this explosive news. The representative's words had pushed the atmosphere of the scene to a climax. A challenge to the wealthy class. Everyone thought they were hearing it incorrectly. In River County, none of the powerhouses had any strength close to the 3 wealthy classes. Which dark horse was it? He had so much courage to dare challenge the wealthy class. Which family out of the Su, Jian, and the Yun wealthy classes would they be challenging? The heads of these 3 wealthy classes were sitting at eye-catching positions. Initially, they kept an aloof and superior attitude and did not seem to care about the family class evaluation. However, they were now feeling somewhat anxious, frustrated and worried. No one would dare to recklessly challenge the wealthy class seats. It was a life and death battle to protect a family's honor and interest. It would certainly not end without the death of the other party. Since this person had dared to challenge them, he must have the qualifications and the skills. All 3 wealthy class families wanted to know which one of their families had been chosen. Deep in their hearts, they all hoped that this unfortunate matter would fall onto the others' families. If this matter had fallen onto their family, they must kill their enemies with their full strength. They would destroy the opponent with thunder-like forces and not show any mercy. It was a matter that involved the pride of the wealthy classes. If the tiger did not demonstrate its strength, others would bully it as if it were a sick cat. Of course, they needed to punish one to set an example to the others to regain their pride. Or else, in the future everyone would think that the wealthy class families would be easy to bully. As a result, everyone would be constantly challenging them. Who was it? Those participants below the stage urgently wanted to know the answer. They jeered loudly and made a racket. The entire river square seemed to be boiling. That Zhenwu official had drawn out the suspense to drive the crowd wild. He smiled. Allow me to announce, the wealthy class family being challenged is River County Sioux family. Every member of the Sioux family's faces instantly changed when they heard these words. They felt like the entire sky had darkened. Their dark mood slowly turned into anger accompanied by the rain and the wind. It was apparent that their mood could turn into violent rain and storm at any time. The Zhenwu official stopped for a moment. He became satisfied when he saw everyone holding their breath, unable to take their eyes off him. He continued, the challenger is the Qin family from Eastwood Town. In total, these 2 families will fight for the seat. These rivals will meet face to face and only the mightier one will win. Let us celebrate this festival. Although there were no cheering, people could not stop talking. No way. The Qin family of Eastwood Town are not very famous. Are they powerful? They dared to challenge the Sioux family. What is the background of this Qin family? A humble class skipping a level to challenge a wealthy class. This Qin family is crazy, right? Haha, this is interesting. A moment ago, I thought the Qin family had given up on their humble class seat. But that person was right. They dared to challenge a wealthy class family. They are quite ambitious. That's right, we should applaud them even if it's just for their courage. This is the foundation and the pursuit of martial artists. Qin family, good job. Yes, no matter if the Qin family fails or succeeds in their duel, I will support them. The Su family is not something good. Yes, yes. It's time to freshen the air since these 3 big wealthy class families have controlled River County for so many years. The strong Qin family. Rise, Qin family. cheering sounds for the Qin family rang throughout the river square. After all, most lower-level martial artists were unyielding characters. They did not have the power to challenge the powerful foes themselves, but they hoped to see someone challenge them. When the representative saw that the atmosphere had been stirred up, he shouted, "Representatives of each of the challenging families and the challenged families, please come to the stage and sign the martial artist's declaration." Rate translation quality. Chapter 34, Martial Artist's Declaration. Translator, Kazuaki_editor, Jimmy_. The so-called martial artist's declaration was, in fact, a life and death waiver. In this family class evaluation, people were fighting for the social status of their families. It was a matter of their family's honor, interests, and even their prosperity and survival. It was, of course, a fight to the death without any regard for sensibilities and feelings. Even if you were friends off the stage, you would become irreconcilable foes on the stage. Their only goal would be to beat their enemy to protect their family seeds. 5 powerhouses were fighting for the humble class seeds. They were the Gu and the Wen families from River County, the Niu family of Eastwood Town, and the Blue and the Li family from the Nine-Du Town. Among these families, the Li family was the only aristocratic family. They were the defenders. The rest of the 4 families would challenge them. However, because River County's Gu, Wen, and the Niu family of Eastwood Town were all after the humble class seat of the Qin family, and the Qin family had gone to fight for the wealthy class seat, these 3 families would fight for that humble class seat. The other humble class seat would be bestowed upon the winner of the challenge between the Blue and the Li family of the Nine-Du Town. After the 5 humble class challengers had gone onto the stage, they all expressed their hot-blooded opinions and signed the life and death waiver. Then, they went down the stage. Before their big battles, they did not wish to speak any further and just wanted to get on with it. For their family to survive, they would march forward regardless of death, blood, and the loss of lives. The family was the foundation of one's survival. In a family, you could bear the calamity together and put one's life in the hands of others. One would not hesitate to die for their family. Between the prominent classes, both the Zhou and the Summer families were powerhouses in River County. These 2 families usually fought over their businesses. Thus, they were also long-standing enemies. After they had gone up to the stage, they seethed with hatred and rage. With gnashed teeth, they swore that the other would suffer a miserable death. Regarding who would die tragically, and by whose hands, it would be revealed after the competition. At this moment, the competition between the prominent classes was no longer the event that everyone was looking forward. They were looking forward to the fight for the wealthy class seat. Everyone wanted to know what kind of thoughts had possessed the Qin family that had made them challenge the wealthy class. Did they genuinely have the confidence to challenge the wealthy Su family? Everyone was looking forward to it. The representative of the Su family, the defending family, spoke his statement first. That representative of the Su family was an uncle of Su Sanli. He was an influential elder and warrior in the Su house. From his look, the elder was obviously furious. With an angry and disdainful tone, he said, "I have never heard about any Qin family before. I don't want to say much. I will say only a few words. Ever since the Su family had acquired its power, whoever had dared to challenge the wealthy class Su family have all ceased to exist. This time, the Qin family will not be an exception." These words were haughty and aggressive, which fully displayed the power and confidence of the solid foundation of a wealthy class family. If they hadn't the strength, they would not have dared to speak these offensive words. And these words were also smooth and slippery that were specifically targeted toward the Qin family. There wasn't the slightest implication or mention of the venerable De Shi family in that Su elder's words. That Zhenwu holy place representative smiled and did not make any comments. He said to the Qin family should also send a representative. At this moment, Qin Lianshan did not know where to turn. Just as he was about to go up, Qin Wushuan stopped him. Qin Wushuan walked up onto the stage with a composed attitude. Under the gazes of tens of thousands of people, he looked steady and confident. He said slowly, "Everyone, on the day of my martial arts student exam, several well-dressed old aristocratic masters stopped me, my father and my sister. They lectured us about the so-called aristocrats' etiquette. One of the old masters even warned my father, saying something about knowing when to advance and when to retreat. He told my father that he should have the determination to let go. Everyone would probably not know the meaning of these words. To put it bluntly, although this old master came from the wealthy class, He is still quite greedy. He coveted my family's foundation. He planned to use threats to get my family give up its humble class seat and hand over our family's assets. I want to ask each and every one of you, in our martial arts world, is there such a thing as giving up without a fight? Who would do such a thing, and be labeled a coward like this? Although he spoke with a high-pitched and passionate tone, his words were provocative. Under the stage, people replied with a booming voice, "Never yield, never be a coward." That's right. It's not strange if you want my family's assets. In our Bayou country, we emphasize on the survival of the fittest and the law of the jungle. If you have the skill, then come and take it. And who was this old master of the wealthy class? Everyone must have already guessed. That's right, it was old Master Sue Sanley. I've already told him on the spot at that time, my Chin family will let him have our humble class seat. But, I forgot to mention one thing back then. Chin Washuan stopped for a moment, and tens of thousands of people under the stage shouted, "What thing?" Chin Washuan smiled lightly and said, "The thing I wanted to say was that since old Master Sue wants my family's humble class seat, then they can trade it for their wealthy class seat." Suddenly, a trace of coldness flashed across Sue Sanley's face. Murderous intent filled his eyes. Chin Washuan's words had genuinely stung his pride as a warrior. Even if this Chin family had received the support of the venerable Dashi family, they had crossed the line. Even if the Chin family had sucked up to a venerable family, do you think that my wealthy Sioux family does not have the support of an even stronger patron? In River County, a venerable class family was the supreme existence. However, if one looked across the entire Bayou country, they were one of the lowest classes among the upper-level aristocrats. Sue Sanley did not care to conceal his murderous intent as he said coldly, "Son of the Chin family, I am going to make you understand the meaning of regret." Chin Washuan, of course, did not fear him and smiled coldly, "I will be waiting." "I say, Patriarch Sue, you don't look too calm. Don't forget, sooner or later you will repay all that you have done when you are out here. Could it be that only the Sioux family is allowed to scheme against me, and the Chin family could not do the same to you? It's only fair if we return the favor." Sue Sanley laughed instead of being angry. "Ha ha ha, a little martial arts student is talking in his dreams. I am going to see what right you have to talk about fairness to me." Chin Washuan lightly smiled and did not speak anymore. However, his positive expression encouraged many people under the stage as they erupted with waves of loud cheering. Sue Sanley saw the cheering from the crowd as a provocation to the Sioux family. Inwardly, he was furious. This darn Chin family, how could they be more popular than the Sioux family? He refused to believe it. He saw there were only 3 people in the Chin family. There was only the father, son, and a daughter that had no talent in martial arts. What power did they have to challenge his wealthy Sioux family with such little people? The rules stated that humble classes fights would be the earliest one to be carried out. The Zhenwu holy place official said, "Patriarch Sue, I must discuss a matter with you." Sue Sanley said lightly, "Please." According to the rules, the Chin family challenged your Sioux family. If the Sioux family wins, you will retain your wealthy class seat, and the Chin family will automatically lose their qualification as a humble class. However, if the Chin family wins, they will replace you and become one of the wealthy class. And you guys will be demoted to the humble class, as the rules have stated. But, people have already challenged the Chin family's humble class seat. Thus, if you want to compete for this humble class seat, you must first participate in this duel and take the humble class seat in advance. Sue Sanley inwardly seethed with frustration. He thought these were ridiculous rules. Did they not put the Sioux family in their eyes? A humble class seat? Did you bring this up to mock me? How could I, the Sioux family, lose? He immediately refused. There is no need. It is only a humble class seat. The Sioux family and I do not put it in our eyes. He had used his full strength to help the Gu family to fight for this humble class seat because they had desired the Chin family's assets and not the seat. But it was obvious that the Sioux family did not wish to waste their strength on fighting for the lesser prize, the humble class seat, lest they lose the bigger prize, their wealthy class seat. They could not lose their face. Although competing for the humble class seat would be a fallback if they lost their wealthy class duel. That official did not force him as he nodded. "All right, if you are not going to compete, then the Sioux family will become civilians if you lose this fight. And you won't even have a humble class seat." Sue Sanley snapped, "Thanks for your concern, my Sioux family will not lose." The official smiled. I am only telling you the rules to show the respect owed to the wealthy class. Even so, from Sue Sanley's views, he felt the official had humiliated his wealthy class Sue family. Or else, how could he even mention the humble class C? This way, Sue Sanley had ultimately cut off this escape route. That Shenwu official said in a clear voice, "Next, I will announce the family class evaluation rules. 3 families are fighting for the empty humble class seat of Eastwood Town's Jean family. The victor will get the seat. From the 9-2 town, the Lee and the Blue families will fight for the other humble class seat. The rules are as follows." After he had finished announcing the rules, there were no objections from either party. Thus, they finished signing the waivers. Next, there was nothing to say about the prominent class fight between the Joe and the Summer family. The winner would become a prominent class family, and the loser would become a humble class family. It would be a game between the 2 families. They would keep the original state or switch it around. The rules were already explained to the Chin and the wealthy class Sue family. The Chin family would ascend to the wealthy class if they won, and the Sue family would become civilians. On the other hand, if the Sue family won, they would keep their wealthy class seat, and the Chin family would become civilians. Patriarch Sue, Patriarch Chin, you guys should discuss the details of the competition rules. The rules state that it would be 1 fight to determine the humble class seat, 3 fights to determine the prominent class seat, and for the wealthy class, it would be 5 matches to determine the winner. The official was very patient. He must explain the rules beforehand and to ensure that this would be a fair arrangement so both winners and losers would not complain. Sue Sanley laughed coldly. The Chin family have already lost if they want to fight 5 matches. In total, they only got 2 men in their family. Their number would not be sufficient for the 3 total wins required. It seemed that the rules also mentioned that 1 person could fight in 5 battles consecutively, right? Qin Wushuan said slowly. 1 person to fight 5 rounds. Are you sure your brain is still working? Sue Sanley sneered. That representative interrupted. The rules did say that it's okay for 1 person to fight 5 rounds. However, it would be hard to demonstrate fairness. Just in case if that family only has 1 mighty warrior and the rest of them are average, and this powerful warrior happened to be slightly more powerful than other soldiers of the other family, he would have taken advantage of the legal loopholes if he fought in 5 rounds. Qin Wushuan nodded to show his understanding. For example, it would be as if 1 family only had 1 stage 5 genuine force warrior and defeated 5 stage 3 or 4 genuine force warriors of the other family one by using his strength alone. It would be a typical example of taking advantage of the loopholes. Regarding the overall strength of both families, the latter family would surely be more powerful due to their numbers. On the other hand, the former family with the 1 strong warrior would only need send out that 1 strong warrior to win the fights. Such a situation would, of course, be unfair as it would be an uneven matchup and a significant abuse of a loophole in the rules. Since we have rules, then let's do it by the rules. Qin Wushuan was confident because he had already thoroughly analyzed the rules. If you are going by the rules, in the first round, it will be a 1-on-1 fight. In the second round, it will be 1 against 2. And so on, until the 5th round, it would be 1 against 5. That Shenwu official reminded him, the rules dictate that sending 1 warrior to the battlefield will be difficult. Qin Wushuan said leisurely, isn't it supposed to be 5 matches and 3 wins? Most likely, there is no need for the fight to drag out till the 5th round. That Shenwu official said, then the Qin family must send out someone that has the ability to fight against 3 people. This way, you can guarantee the wins for 3 fights. 1 against 3, right? Qin Wushuan laughed and said lightly, then let it be, 1 against 3. After he had said these words, the people below the stage were instantly shocked. This martial arts student was mad. 1 against 3 and his opponent were the wealthy class Sue. In the Qin family, who would have such swift and fierce battle skills? Even Qin Lianshan, the patriarch of the family, could not help but be shocked. His body lightly trembled and he stood up unconsciously. Great translation quality. Chapter 35, Rise of the Stepping Stones. Translator, Kaziaki_editor, Jimmy_. At that moment, Sue Sanley utterly believed Qin Wushuan was a retard. A match where 1 person would fight against 3 and with Qin Lianshan and his son as the only fighters. It must be an intentional joke. However, to prevent cheating, he still said, Mr. Judge, only the offsprings of the family can fight in this duel, right? Guest elders or side family members are not allowed to enter the fight, right? Of course. That representative was not stupid. Then, inside the Qin family's household register, only the father and the son are part of the family, correct? That representative nodded. That is correct. When it's time, we will check both parties' household registration to prevent imposters. Whichever family tries to send out an imposter, they will be disqualified. Su Sanli sneered. That's great. This way, even if the Qin family had the support of the venerable Deshi family behind them, they need not fear them. Although you may be strong, if you were not in the household registration, then you obviously would not be able to go on the stage. Additionally, this duel involved the conflict between the two households. No matter how much support a third party had given you, in the end, only the offsprings of the family could go up on the stage. When he saw that both sides had no objections, the official announced, since both of you have finished discussing, then it is agreed. Only offsprings of each family can enter the fight. Bribery and fraud are forbidden. Moreover, if the Qin family is going to have one person fighting continuously, then the Su family can only send different people to fight each time. To show that it was a fair do, the family that was going to send multiple people to the fight could not reuse their people in the next round or any other rounds. In short, no one could fight in the match for twice. Or else, it would turn into a repetitive and meaningless fight. Both parties checked the waivers and signed the forms when they saw no mistakes. Then, they stamped their family seals. Su Sanli said harshly, Qin Lianshan, let me give you some advice. Go home quickly and prepare a coffin. Regardless of whether if it's you or your son that will be entering the fight, both of you will need it. However, Qin Wushuan sneered on the side, how is one coffin going to be enough? You should prepare at least 6 coffins so that there will be enough for everyone from the Su family. The Zhenwu official felt strange when he heard both parties openly threaten each other. Under typical situations, when families fought for the seats, they always hid their murderous intentions in their hearts. Rarely would they be so open as to speak their intentions out loud. These two families were strange. Before the fight had even begun, they were already cursing at each other. Of course, they could only fight through their words. The fight for the wealthy class seats would be the grand finale of this family class evaluation session in River County. Naturally, this event would take place last. The fight for the humble class seats took place on the first day of the family class evaluation. The first empty humble class seat up for grabs was the Qin family seat. 3 powerhouses would fight for the seat. They were the Gu and Wen families of River County and the Niu family of Eastwood Town. A fight between 3 families would use the round-robin system. Qin Wushuan coldly watched the members of each of the 3 families. Although the Qin family had decided to fight for the wealthy class seat, these 3 powerhouses had always coveted the Qin family's humble class seat. Now, unsurprisingly, these 3 families were finally competing for that seat. Qin Wushuan also did not harbor any real feelings toward these 3 powerhouses. After all, these powerhouses had dared to fight for the Qin family's humble class seat because they had looked down on the Qin family. They had intended to bully the Qin family. To that Gu family, the old master Su had supported them in the dark. They had already made an agreement with Su Sanli. Once they succeeded in obtaining the seat, the Gu family would take the humble class seat, and Su Sanli would get 70% of Qin family's assets. It was the reason why Su Sanli had been eyeing the Qin family for so long. The Wen family were distant in-laws to Zhang Maoyue. Although they had registered for the fight, with Su Sanli making his intentions known, they had been half abandoned by Zhang Maoyue. Father, this match is meaningless. I am going back to the inn first. Qin Wushuan was not very interested in a fight at this level. He did not want to waste his time. Truthfully, Qin Lianshan was also furious as he watched them. They were fighting to their death but were competing to get his humble class seat that had belonged to his Qin family. The more he thought about it, the more frustrated he felt. Although he had gained some reputation when the Qin family had stepped up to fight for the wealthy class seat, it was a grave offense in the aristocratic circle when people challenged his humble class seat. Strangely, Qin Jiu also did not wish to watch the show as she agreed, okay, let's go back. As the grand finale, the fight for the wealthy class seat had been arranged to take place after 10 days. In these 10 days, they could come to watch freely. If they did not want to watch, there was no need for them to come. Of course, Few people were free and easy like Qin Wuxuan. In the 20-year family class evaluation session, each of the fights was a life and death battle. In each match, someone would die for sure. It was very exciting and fulfilling. It was quite a feast for the eyes. Thus, ordinary people would not miss it unless they had an emergency. When they returned to the inn, Qin Lianshan stared at Qin Wuxuan and lightly sighed. Wuxuan, father has always refrained from asking you certain questions. Today, I want to understand some things, or else, I will feel uneasy. Qin Wuxuan had a rough idea about what his father wanted to ask him. Thus, he calmly said, Father, please ask. Qin Lianshan did not speak immediately but continued to stare at his son with a meaningful look. His son was a 16-year-old. If it were some other kid, they would still be a youngster and at a stage where he would be enjoying all the fun. However, his son had already assumed his familial responsibilities. Because of this, he felt gratified and guilty at the same time. Wuxuan, I know that you have been working very hard since a young age. However, no matter how hard you've trained, it's impossible to reach the genuine force at your age. At least in the history of River County, there are no such records. Tell father, did you encounter some fortuitous opportunity when you were training at the Great Kang Mountains? Qin Jiu blinked her eyes. Fortuitous opportunity? What kind? Qin Wuxuan laughed. Father has guessed right. I did indeed encounter a fortuitous opportunity. Regarding what this fortuitous opportunity is about, father will not believe me even if I tell you now. I can only promise you that my actions will not let down the gods and our family's ancestors. Great. A relieved look flashed across Qin Lianshan's face. He remembered the significant changes that happened to his son in these 3 or 4 years through his carefully planned training routines. Thus, he slowly became reassured, and he said earnestly, Wuxuan, I am relieved after hearing your words. From now on, I will not ask any more. Starting from today, I will support everything you are going to do with the Qin family. The Qin father and son smiled at each other. This bond between those of the same bloodline revealed itself within the smile. Qin Jiu whispered, Daddy, our Wuxuan has grown up. Yes, my Qin family finally has an heir. Qin Lianshan sighed with emotion. Qin Jiu pulled Qin Wuxuan's hands to let him sit next to her. She asked conscientiously, Wuxuan, tell your sister. Are you sure you can win against the Su family? Qin Lianshan also stared at Qin Wuxuan. He had refrained from asking this question. He did not forget to conveniently add, if you are unsure, then our Qin family can take a step back. I believe that our ancestors will understand. Qin Lianshan consoled his son because he wanted to leave his son a way up. While the green hills still last, there'll be wood to burn. To a humble class, the wealthy class Su family was genuinely a monstrous existence. Although Qin Lianshan did not wish to be the generation that lost the humble class seed, to achieve a long-term goal, he was willing to take this blame. As long as his son could retrieve the family's honor and prestige in the future, how much could it hurt if he lost some of his reputation? It was the same when he had vowed before his ancestors in the ancestral hall he, Qin Lianshan, would carry all the blame and shoulder the disasters. His son, Qin Wuxuan, would enjoy all the honor and reputation. Qin Lianshan had his plans. The family class evaluation took place every 20 years. After 20 years, his son would only be 36 years old, which would be an absolute and flourishing age. Qin Wuxuan knew his father had given it a lot of thought. Perseverance shone from his eyes as he stared at his father and sister. Father, sister, I will make a promise to you. This time, I will certainly take back Qin family's long-lost reputation and status. The wealthy class Su family will be the first stepping stone in our Qin family's journey in regaining our glory. Between Qin Wuxuan's words and his superior confidence, it had significantly influenced Qin Lianshan and Qin Jiu. Qin Lianshan could not help but rub his hands when he thought that there was hope of rebuilding his noble family. He could not help but feel excited even though he was only imagining their return to glory. Although he was already 48 years old, inside him still burned a will that refused to lose. His blood was bound to the fate of the family. So tightly bounded, it would never cease even as he aged. Qin Jiu let out a sob as tears streamed down her face. Her eyes were red, and she felt quite moved. Deep inside his heart, Qin Wuxuan was also driven by this strange emotion. He knew very well the importance of family in this world. His father and sister were this excited because deep inside their souls, they were tightly bound to the family. The rise and the fall of the family determined an individual's reputation. It would even decide your survival and death. Even if it were just to let his family straighten their backs and raise their heads higher, he must take back this wealthy class seed. Although the harvest would include more than just the wealthy class seed, deep inside his heart, Qin Wuxuan hardly cared about these things. He wanted to do this so his father could smile more and so that he could find a more credible husband for his sister. Rate translation quality. Chapter 36, An Uproar. Translator, Kaziaki_editor, Jimmy_. Inside the Su family's business hall, more than 20 men from the Su family's main force had arrived as a group. Before, they had viewed the Qin family as ants to be crushed under their foot. However, once someone threatened their social status, all the youngsters and the elders of the Su family took it personally as if someone had robbed their ancestral tomb. Each and every one of them had an angry expression. The atmosphere in the Su clan was quite gloomy. Su Sanli was the current patriarch of the Su family. Though he still had two elder uncles from an older generation. They were both genuine force warriors that were as strong as him. In his generation, there were 6 offsprings in the main Su family. In the next generation, there were 17 people. Among these 26 Su offsprings, 12 of them had reached the genuine force stage. It was why the Su family became one of the 4 big households in River County. The wealthy class Su was not some paper tiger in River County, as they certainly had the strength to back themselves up. Su Sanli remained silent with a serious expression on his face. He glanced across the hall with a pair of cold eyes. After a while, he slowly started to talk. Children of the Su family, I believe that right now, your blood must be boiling. If you still remember the surname that you carry, then give me 100% of your effort and your spirit. Roar. Every child of the Su family roared like a wolf. The Su family had always used this kind of cheering method. It has been hundreds of years since the Su family became a wealthy class. We have been through 6 family class evaluation sessions and have always been stable in our wealthy class status. However, today, someone dared to look down on our family. Regardless of the opponent, the Su family's motto is to fight with all our strength. We will never retreat unless we have destroyed the enemy. Su Sanli's fist slammed on the chair and the high-quality wooden chair collapsed with a loud bang. Roar. Every offspring of the Su family could feel the anger from the patriarch. In fact, they were also furious. It was unacceptable to them since people had challenged the Su family at the family class evaluation. Regardless of winning or losing, they had already lost some of their face. How come they did not challenge the Yun or the Jian family? Did they just happen to choose the Su family? To put it bluntly, they obviously must have thought that the Su family was the easiest to bully among the 3 wealthy classes. This kind of challenge was no longer a simple matter that had offended them. It also involved the issue of the power and prestige of a wealthy class family. The one-eyed elder, the most experienced of the 2 elders, said harshly, Patriarch. I must speak. This matter is not just a simple provocation to the wealthy class Su. We must not take it lightly, and we must raise this issue to the level of life and death. Su Sanli nodded. Uncle Kai is right. The duels in the family class evaluation involves our family's honor and prestige. It will be a life and death battle. I will announce it here. All warriors must fight with their full strength, regardless of the power of the enemy. Ultimately, your goal is to kill the enemy. That one-eyed elder nodded. He was satisfied with Su Sanli's attitude and did not speak any further. The other elder, Elder Yu, also opened his mouth. I am 97 years old. I have been through 4 family class evaluation sessions. I must mention that, since this Qin family dared to sign up for this challenge, they would not have signed up without any forethought or planning. The family class evaluation is not a game. Since the Qin family had dared to target our Su family, they must have a hidden trump card. Su Sanli fell into a silent contemplation. He had also dwelled upon this problem repeatedly. He also did not believe that the Qin family did not have any hidden trump cards. He had received quite a shock on the day that they had released the exam rankings. Even now, that scene was still quite vivid in his mind. Whenever he thought about it, he felt uneasy. Not to mention that a warrior of the Zhenwu holy place had delivered a letter to the son of the Qin family. The meaning behind this event was profound. Qin Lianshan was a mature person. If it were under ordinary situations, he would not be crazy enough to challenge the wealthy class Su since he did not have the skills. unless each and every one of the Qin family members was feeling like had lived too long. Without a doubt, the humble class Qin must have gotten a hold of some unknown trump card. However, what kind of hidden trump card would the Qin family have? Only the son and the father of the Qin family could fight. One of them was at stage 1 of the genuine force, and the other one was only a level 7 martial arts student. Even if he were a level 9 martial arts student, his strength would still be insignificant against the Su family. No matter which angle you looked at it, the humble Qin family did not seem to have the qualifications to challenge the wealthy class Su. Even if they were connected to the people from the Zhenwu holy place, they could not cheat on this family class evaluation. In the end, they had to use their own strength to win. Elder uncles, from your perspective, which one would they send out, Qin Lianshan, or Qin Wuxuan? Su Sanli still could not figure out this question. Elder Yu considered the question for a moment before he shook his head. He was also uncertain about the answer. That one-eyed uncle said, regardless of which one of them is entering the fight, we must send out our strongest team. We must also carefully plan out who to put in the groups. Of course, the father and the son of the Qin family might just be spreading a smokescreen to confuse our strategy and plans. Elder Yu also said, that's right. Nobody knows if both the father and son are going to fight. They might have deliberately said that only one person is going to fight all the matches. This way, they can confuse our strategy. Su Sanli nodded, yes, regardless of their tricks, we cannot panic. No matter what their plans are, the first round will be a one-on-one match. We can test their strength. We cannot send out our strongest warrior, nor our weakest. Who wants to go first? One of the offspring, Su Wujian, stood up and patted his chest. Patriarch, I will go first. This Su Wujian was the leading guard in their generation. He had a forceful personality and always used ruthless methods. He had previously killed a family of 36 people because of the internal conflicts in the Su family. He was the most famous butcher in the Su family. Because he had the strength of a stage 3 genuine force warrior, he was ranked as one of the top 5 warriors in the family. I think it's good for Wujian to go first. Uncle Kai said. Good, then Wujian will go first. The second match will be crucial. Regardless of the win or loss in the first fight, we must not lose in the second fight. I want to ask one of the uncles to lead this fight. Su Sanli said. I will do it. Uncle Kai glared coldly through his only eye. If the Qin family changes their fighter, then I will deal him myself. If it is the same person from the first match, then I will fight together with my son. Su Sanli immediately became jubilant. If Uncle Kai is willing to go, you will surely take the second match. In the third fight, I am planning to go. I will bring Su Qing and Su Ming. Su Qing and Su Ming were twins in the generation after Su Sanli. They were both powerful and at stage 2 of the genuine force. Uncle Kai nodded, that's right. If we win the first 2 matches, we should continue the momentum to the third fight. It's good that you are going to lead this match. If there is a 4th round, then please, little brother you should go. Uncle Kai threw his gaze toward that Elder Yu. Elder Yu nodded, family matters are unshirkable responsibilities. I am not afraid to be labeled a bad guy fighting in a group of 4 against 1. I will lead the 4th match. Su Sanli smiled confidently, with uncles overseeing the situation, and me, we will surely win the 4 fights. Of course, we should not overlook the 5th match. We will send our 5 best offsprings just in case. After the arrangement within the family, all 12 mighty warriors ranked at the genuine force had received a task. Even though their lineup seemed as though they were sending a lion to kill a rabbit, none of them felt like it was overkill. After all, it was a matter of the family's survival. Nothing was considered trivial when it came to the family. At the same time, inside the castle of River County's venerable De Shi family, a middle-aged man dressed in embroidered clothing sat in the study room. He was playing Go with one of the elders of the family. This well-dressed middle-aged man had a gentle appearance with a face that looked like De Shi Ming. He was the current patriarch of the De Shi family, De Shi Hung. Hung, I heard that recently, the wealthy class Su haven't been having good days. The elder that sat across De Shi Hung had a pair of eagle-like eyes and an eagle-like nose. Overall, he appeared quite ferocious. De Shi Hung casually placed down one of the white Go chess pieces onto the board. He smiled, there are not many smart people in the Su family. Sooner or later they will have to face their problems. Only this time, the issue they face is somewhat unusual. It is certainly interesting. The eagle-eyed elder set down a black go chess piece. The humble Qin family challenged the wealthy Su family out of the blue. This kind of family class evaluation, where a family is challenging a class 2 levels above them, has never happened in the history of our river county, right? What kind of new methods does this Qin family have? Have you conducted any investigations? The Qin family has a long history in River County. Their ancestors were also part of the wealthy class. 100 years ago, after a high number of the Qin family's offsprings disappeared, their power declined, which caused their social status to drop. However, I do not believe that Qin Lianshan could threaten the Su family. Most likely, the true threat comes from his level 7 martial arts student son. De Shihang spoke with a casual expression and tone. He appeared calm and composed, as if he would not be disturbed even if the sky had fallen. A level 7 martial arts student. That eagle-eye elder furrowed his white eyebrows. Since when did a level 7 martial arts student become so enchanting? Isn't Yang a level 8 martial arts student? De Shihang said, I am not sure about how enchanting a level 7 martial arts student can be. But I do remember that a few days ago, Ming'er told me that a level 7 martial arts student had killed a warrior at the peak of the power force in mere seconds during a duel at the river square. A level 7 martial arts student killed someone at the height of power force instantly. The eagle-eye elder momentarily paused as he held the black go chess piece in mid-air. You are not joking, right? Ming'er does not seem to be the type that would speak without thinking, right? De Shihang smiled. Ming'er, this poor kid, had he recently returned to the family? With a calm expression, De Shihang did not answer this question. He stared at the go board and did not speak for a while. Suddenly, he gave a long sigh. A disinterested expression appeared on his calm face. He must return. He is already 27 years old. He should understand that no matter how much he tries to evade it, he will still need to face it. However, this time I saw that he has become much happier. Deep in his heart, he would never forget that he is one of the offsprings of the De Shi family. This child. As a father, I feel guilty toward him. That elder shook his head. It's not only your fault on this matter. It was an embarrassment to all our De Shi family. Under that circumstance, it's difficult for you to refuse. In Bayou country, the Shimen family is ranked 5th among the 12 great feudal lords. Regardless of their power or social status, they have completely suppressed our De Shi family. When they had wanted to marry a daughter into our family, to them, it was an act of condescension. De Shihang sighed bitterly. We don't need this form of condescension. Each time I see Ming'er's sad expression, my heart feels so much pain, as if a knife had sliced through it. The daughter of the Shimen family has an awful reputation. I heard that she also has some complicated relationship with an elder of the Shimen family. Cheerful and open-minded would certainly not be the words I would use to describe her. The elder also said desolately, even if she is an ugly sow, we have to marry her since the Shimen family wants to marry her into our family. Or else, if the Shimen becomes angry, our De Shi family will disappear from the map of Bayou country in less than half a month. Since Ming'er is part of the De Shi family, it would be nice if he could understand. If he cannot, then he must simply force himself to accept it. De Shihang revealed a weak and bitter smile. I've constantly reminded him. But in these past few days, I've seen him going outside frequently, and he'd mentioned the Qin family to me for several times. In between the conversations, he'd let his thoughts about the daughter of Qin Lianshan reveal his heart. I am worried that at this critical moment, he is beginning to develop some other ideas. Qin Lianshan's daughter. The elder was stunned, then he immediately shook his head. You must watch him carefully. He must not have any other ideas. If he causes any trouble at this critical moment, he will not only drag the De Shi family down but will have also involved the Qin family in our problems. I will warn him. De Shihang put down a white go chess piece and smiled. Uncle, for this round, you've lost again. The elder became surprised for a moment. He stared at the chessboard for a while and pointed at the chessboard. Since you've become the current patriarch of the De Shi family, you have gotten used to being a winner. Rate translation quality. Chapter 37, You Have Fallen for My Sister? Translator, Kaziaki_editor, Jimmy_. Qin Wushuan sat cross-legged. He took a deep breath and slowly recollected the inner strength that was traveling around his blood vessels. Every day, he did this exercise as part of his routine. This kind of training method that used inner strength to exercise the muscles, blood vessels, and bones had proven to be very helpful in increasing his power. Inside his body, the spiritual force of the was masculine and very active. When accumulating the power in his fingertips, he was still unable to control the energy when shooting it out. Once he had created this energy, it could move freely like a boat on the water and like a wind that could be shot out instantly. Then, he could practice that force for the and turn it into an invisible sword chi. These years, Qin Wuxuan had continued to improve this part of his training with hard work. He could already shoot out his inner strength. However, he still needed some time to turn this energy into sword chi. To be precise, he could shoot out his inner strength from his fingertips, but this force could not take a solid form. As soon as it had shot out of his fingertips, he could not take it back, and it would dissipate. With technique, you could only turn this technique into a true killing move if you could control the force and turn it into sword chi. The principle applied with the word coagulated. The sword chi would only have a killing power if you could collect the inner strength together. Qin Wuxuan knew that it was not because he lacked the talent or had practiced the wrong method. Right now, one of the biggest reason for him not being able to use freely was because he lacked some momentum and maturity. After all, he had not trained very long in this world. There were no shortcuts in building momentum. He could only master it with hard work each day. Right now, he was at a stage where he was about to experience a qualitative change. As soon as he gained the momentum, he could undergo a significant change, and it would not be a problem for him to use at that time. Now, he was waiting for a chance to break through the bottleneck. Soon, the fight for the wealthy class seat would arrive. Qin Wuxuan would never allow himself to slack off. The primary qualification in becoming a wealthy class family was to have a stage 4 genuine force warrior to oversee the family. Qin Wuxuan had predicted that the Su family had at least 3 mighty stage 4 genuine force warriors. The strongest of them should have the strength at stage 5 of the genuine force. If it was a one-on-one match, Qin Wuxuan would not even put a stage 5 genuine force warrior in his eyes. A year ago, his spiritual force had already reached a strength equivalent to a warrior at stage 7 of the genuine force. Right now, he had also mastered the 8th palm, the scarce burning of the 8 sons of the. Even if he were to face a stage 8 genuine force warrior, he was certain he would not lose, though it would require some effort. As long as it was not a powerful stage 9 genuine force warrior, Qin Wuxuan could ultimately disregard any warrior below stage 8 with his Enda techniques. Thus, Qin Wuxuan was very confident about the fight against the Su family. Only, although he could look down on his opponents regarding strength, Qin Wuxuan would never be sloppy in the fight. He would never underestimate his opponents in actual combat, no matter how weak his enemies were. Qin Wuxuan estimated that in a one-on-one match, he was certain he would win against anyone sent forth by the Su family. In the second match, although it would be 1 against 2, he still had absolute confidence that he could take them down. The third round would be the most critical one. If the Su family sent out their strongest 3-person team with 1 stage 5, and 2 stage 4 genuine force warriors, then that combination using their skills together would be equivalent to a stage 6 genuine force warrior. If they were good at collaboration and used the right strategies, it would still be possible for them to fight against a stage 7 genuine force warrior. Since they would have the combat abilities of a stage 7 genuine force warrior, Qin Wuxuan would not allow himself to show the slightest bit of carelessness. Qin Wuxuan was not willing to drag the fights out to the 4th or 5th rounds with the Su family. It would be best to finish the matches as soon as possible. When one faced their enemies, the great taboos would be hesitation and hindrance. These plans were, of course, only prepared around the fact that his father was not going to fight. In these few days, his father had been using a black and white Go chess piece to simulate the actions of both parties in order to predict the situation. He was also quite clearly worried about the lineup. It seemed that he needed to find a time to communicate with his father. Just as Qin Wuxuan was in the midst of meditating, hurried footsteps came from outside. It was his sister Qin Jiu. Wuxuan, Wuxuan. When Qin Jiu was about 7 or 8 meters away from the door, she realized that she should not disturb her little brother. Thus, she tried her best to suppress the sound of her footsteps. As she walked up to the door, she lightly knocked. Qin Wuxuan opened the door. "Sister, come in." "Wuxuan, quickly come and look. Big brother Dashi is drunk again. He is singing while drinking and crying. I am really worried." When Qin Wuxuan noticed his sister's helpless expression, he became emotional too. Inwardly, he blamed himself for being careless. These days, De Shiming had came over to the inn every 2 or 3 days. He did not talk with him very much but had spent more time with his sister. From Bush's YouTube, singing, men had the freedom to love. The Confucian code of ethics and morality did not restrain young people in love. I do not talk about death, it would not. As a brother Dish the sheepside or love, they were the only feudal lord family. You but reached for the wine cup, but he remembered that Chin Yu, Bigma by Yukon, the South Cloud State, the social, how could you refuse? Besides, the strength of the Shimen family was quite apparent. Regardless of whether they used gentle or threatening methods, they could easily suppress the venerable Deshi family. To clarify, there were 32 states in the country, and each state had one feudal lord family. Then, inside the 4 royal cities and the imperial capitals, there were dozens more feudal lord powerhouses. Thus, at least 40 or 50 feudal lords existed in total. Among these feudal lord powerhouses, 12 of them were recognized as the strongest. They were known as the 12 great feudal lords in Bayou country. In other words, they formed the core ruling force of Bayou country. And since the Shimen family ranked 5th among the 12 great feudal lords, their apparent strength left the Dashi family feeling powerless. Big brother Dashi, what are your plans? Qin Wushuan wanted to know Dashi Ming's bottom line. A trace of perseverance appeared on Dashi Ming's handsome face. He whispered, little brother Wushuan, if, in this life, I cannot be together with your sister because I had to marry that girl from the Shimen family, then I would rather die than live. I have thought about how I could resist them, and I would have already refused this forced marriage if I was alone. But each and every movement of mine is related to the survival of the venerable Dashi family. Qin Wushuan listened to him silently and did not speak a word. Da Shiming said sadly, since I cannot resist them while I am still alive, only death can set me free, right? Death. Qin Wushuan said lightly, big brother Dashi, how can you be the one my sister entrusts her life to, if you spoke of death so easily? Of course I do not talk about death lightly. Da Shiming suddenly lowered his voice, I plan to find an opportunity and fake my death. Then, I will travel far away from South Cloud State and practice martial arts. I will return to River County when I have acquired the strength that will allow me to no longer fear anyone from the Shimen family. Only, I know this will cause much grief to have your sister to flee with me. Qin Wushuan lightly nodded because this was most likely the best method that Da Shiming could think of to avoid the marriage in a roundabout way. However, this kind of life on the run, maybe Da Shiming could bear it, but not his sister Qin Jilu since she did not have any talent for martial arts training. Most likely, as the days grew, she would grow increasingly unaccustomed to this type of lifestyle, which would cause great trouble. Besides, Qin Wushuan had always seen his sister as someone more important than his life, especially since this was his second chance to remedy his previous life's regret. How could he be willing to let Qin Jilu suffer? He would never allow his sister to experience this pain. Besides, that Shimen family were not idiots. It would not be easy to hide the truth if they requested to see the person if they were alive, or a corpse if the individual was dead. There was only one way to solve this problem. He would need to suppress the Shimen family and ensure that they would never dare to interfere again. When Qin Wushuan thought about this idea, he immediately became furious. Big brother Dashi, how much strength does the Shimen family have, exactly? Qin Wushuan decided to learn about the power of the Shimen family. They could not be an ordinary family since they had scared the Dashi family to such an extent. They are ranked 5th among the 12 great feudal lords. They are awful and evil people. It was apparent to see how big a bully the Shimen family is since they are forcing me to marry their daughter. Since they are ranked 5th among the 12 great feudal lords, the strength of the Shimen family should be equivalent to the power of all of the venerable households in South Cloud State. I heard that they have at least 4 or 5 stage 8 genuine force warriors. Plus, the Shimen family has stage 9 genuine force warriors. The basic requirement to become a feudal lord family was to have a stage 8 genuine force warrior. However, this Shimen family had 4 or 5 of such of these mighty warriors. This kind of strength was equivalent to the foundation of 4 or 5 feudal lord households. Not to mention, they still had powerful warriors at stage 9 of the genuine force. It was not a surprise that the Shimen family had such an arrogant attitude. No wonder they were ranked 5th among the 12 great feudal lords. Inwardly, Qin Wushuan was extremely surprised. One feudal lord family had such strength, then what about those royal families, and those next to the emperor? How powerful would they be? How powerful would the Zhenwu holy place be? Qin Wushuan suddenly realized that even if he had recovered his full strength he'd had from his previous life, he would only be at the peak of stage 9 of the genuine force. Even with this power, it would most likely not allow him to become invincible in Bayou country. Moreover, this Bayou country was only a tiny and ordinary country in this big world. When he thought about it, he could not help but feel a sense of crisis emerge in his mind. Stage 9 of the genuine force was quite clearly not the peak strength in this world. Would it be the upper realm if he went up even more? Qin Wushuan was now 100% certain that in this world, an upper realm sky warrior must exist. Wushuan, what are you thinking? When De Shiming saw him lost in his thoughts, he could not help but ask. Qin Wushuan laughed casually, I'm thinking. Doesn't the De Shi family have some backers above you guys to suppress the Shimen family? Yes, of course, we do. But don't forget, since we have backers, then the Shimen family most likely also has their own backers. After all, they are one level higher than the De Shi family, and of course, their patrons would be much stronger than ours. And under normal circumstances, the third party would not interfere with the internal conflicts within the Bayou families. Except under the condition where we have caused an uproar. Yes, Qin Wushuan nodded thoughtfully. It was good news that the 30 party would not interfere under normal circumstances. He quickly did some calculations in his head. With his current strength, he could reach a tie if he were to do battle with a stage 8 genuine force warrior. At the very least, he would not lose, and he would have at least a 60 or 70% chance of winning. As for battling against a stage 9 genuine force warrior before he had mastered the last stage of the innate, at the very least, he would not be killed. However, it would be impossible for him to win. If he could master the 2 offensive techniques, with his 2 lifetimes of battle experiences coupled with his exquisite and nimble martial arts, he would then have a 100% of chance of beating a stage 9 genuine force warrior. After all, he did reach the stage of invincibility underneath the upper realm sky in his previous world's training environment. In his former world, he could beat any opponents.